I never imagined that my biggest battle wouldn't be against strangers, but against my own blood. My name is Michael, and the only thing I truly inherited from my grandmother was her house. It wasn't a mansion, but it was beautiful, an old colonial-style home with wide porches, creaking wooden floors, and gardens my grandmother used to tend with her hands. To me, it was more than property. It was history. It was security. It was home. Then came Sophia. The first time my brother Daniel brought her over, she was wearing a designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly salary. She smiled sweetly, hugged me like we'd known each other forever, and told me how adorable my house was. Her voice was syrupy, but her eyes were sharp, scanning every corner like she was calculating its worth. I didn't think much of it at first. Daniel had dated all kinds of women, and most of them never lasted more than a season. I figured Sophia would be the same. But she wasn't. Within weeks, she had her hooks in him so deep he was practically her shadow. She moved fast, too fast. One evening, I walked into the living room and overheard her whispering to my mother. "Don't you think it's unfair that Michael lives here alone? A young couple like us could really build a future in this house. And if we decided to sell it, well, it could mean financial freedom for the whole family." My heart sank. That was my grandmother's legacy she was casually plotting to strip from me. At dinner that night, Daniel dropped the first bomb. "Mike, have you ever thought about selling the house? Splitting the money with the family? It's kind of selfish for you to hold on to it when it could help everyone." I nearly choked on my food. Selfish? This was Grandma's wish. She left it to me. How is it selfish to live in the house I've spent years maintaining? Sophia jumped in, her voice silky smooth. "We're just thinking practically. You don't need all this space. You're single. Don't you want to move somewhere smaller? Cozier? You could be free of all the responsibility." I clenched my fists under the table. Her words sounded caring, but her eyes betrayed her, hungry, greedy, calculating. Days turned into weeks, and suddenly, the entire family was against me. My mother hinted that I should do the right thing. My father said Daniel and Sophia deserved a fresh start. Even my aunt called me, lecturing me about family unity. It was as if Sophia had bewitched them all, twisting their minds against me. Then came the intervention. They cornered me in my own living room, my parents, Daniel, and Sophia, sitting in a row like a jury. Sophia was the one leading the conversation, of course. "Michael," she said sweetly, "we've talked about it, and it's clear what's best for everyone. You should sign the house over to Daniel and me. We'll take good care of it." My jaw tightened. "And where exactly am I supposed to go?" Sophia smiled innocently. "Oh, we'll make sure you're compensated. You'll be fine. Think of it as starting fresh." That was the moment I realized they weren't just asking. They were demanding. They had already decided the house was theirs. But what they didn't know was that I wasn't going down without a fight. That night, while they thought I was sulking in defeat, I was making phone calls. I transferred the deed into a private trust under my name only. I also printed fake copies of the deed, documents that looked official but were worth less than toilet paper. 2 weeks later, Daniel and Sophia showed up with boxes, ready to move in. They strutted in like they owned the place, Sophia smiling like a queen entering her palace. But waiting for them was a lawyer I had hired, holding the real documents. "Sorry," I said coldly, arms crossed. "This house isn't yours. It never will be." The look on Sophia's face was priceless. Her sweet mask cracked, and for the first time, the venom beneath was exposed. But what happened next was something I could never have predicted. Sophia's eyes darkened the moment she realized the house wasn't slipping into her perfectly manicured hands. "You think you're clever, Michael," she hissed, her voice stripped of its sweetness. "But you can't fight forever. Daniel is family. He deserves this house more than you." Daniel stood behind her, conflicted, his jaw tight. "Mike, why are you doing this? We're supposed to share." I stared at him, disbelief burning in my chest. "Share? This isn't a toy, Daniel. This is the house Grandma entrusted to me. Not you. Not anyone else. And now you're letting her. I jabbed a finger towards Sophia. Manipulate you into stealing it. Sophia grabbed Daniel's arm, her nails digging in. Don't listen to him. He's selfish. He'll never think about anyone but himself. That's when my lawyer stepped forward and handed Sophia the real paperwork. This property is legally untouchable. It's in a private trust under Michael's sole control. Any attempt to claim otherwise would be considered fraud. For the first time since I met her, Sophia lost her composure. Her cheeks flushed red, and she stormed out without another word. Daniel followed, torn between loyalty to her and shame for what he'd almost done. I thought it was over. I thought I had won. I was wrong. A week later, Daniel came to see me alone. His face was pale, his eyes sunken. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in days. Mike, he whispered, you don't understand. Sophia, she doesn't let things go. She's obsessed with that house. She keeps saying it's our ticket out. She wants me to convince you again, or worse. A chill ran down my spine. Or worse? What does that mean? He shook his head, glancing nervously at the door. I don't even know anymore. She's different when we're alone. Cold. Controlling. She said if I loved her, I'd make sure she got what she wanted, no matter how. I studied my brother. He wasn't the same person anymore. Sophia had hollowed him out, replacing his thoughts with her own. You need to leave her, I said firmly, before she destroys you. But Daniel only muttered, it's not that simple, before walking out again. 2 nights later, I got a call from a mutual friend who worked in real estate. Hey, Michael, he said cautiously. I thought you should know, your brother's girlfriend came to my office. She asked me how much your house would sell for. She even showed me some paperwork, but it looked fake. Your name wasn't on it at all. My blood turned cold. Sophia wasn't just scheming, she was forging documents to make it look like the house belonged to her and Daniel. I dug deeper. With the help of my lawyer, I uncovered something shocking. Sophia had a history. 2 years earlier, she'd been engaged to another man in a different state. Just before the wedding, she convinced him to sign over part of his business to her. Weeks later, she disappeared, leaving him bankrupt and broken. She was a professional. A predator. And now, she had her claws in my brother. I decided to confront Daniel with the truth. I brought him the files, the records, the evidence of Sophia's past scams. At first, he refused to believe it. He defended her, saying I was just trying to tear them apart. But then Sophia walked in mid-conversation, saw the papers spread out on the table, and her mask cracked again. You're pathetic, Daniel, she spat. You can't even protect me from your own brother. Do you think I need you? Do you think I couldn't find someone richer, stronger, smarter? The words cut him like knives. I saw it in his eyes, the moment her spell began to break. You used me, he whispered. This was never about love. It was about the house. Sophia rolled her eyes and grabbed her purse. Finally figured it out, huh? Took you long enough. And just like that, she stormed out of his life. Daniel collapsed into a chair, broken. I almost betrayed you, Mike. I almost gave up everything we have as brothers, for her. I put a hand on his shoulder. She fooled everyone. But you're my brother. That's something no one can steal. In the weeks that followed, Daniel slowly rebuilt his life. He moved back in with my parents temporarily, cutting all ties with Sophia. My family, ashamed of how easily they had been manipulated, apologized for ever pressuring me. As for Sophia, she disappeared, just like before. No one heard from her again. But I wasn't naive. I knew she'd move on to her next target, another man with something she could sink her claws into. Months later, I received a letter in the mail. It was from Sophia. Inside was a single photograph, my house, taken from the street. On the back, in neat handwriting, were the words, You may have won this battle, Michael, But trust me, you haven't seen the last of me. My blood ran cold. I locked the doors that night, double-checked the windows, and reminded myself of one chilling truth. Sometimes, the greatest threats don't come from strangers. They come from the ones we let closest to us. And Sophia? She wasn't finished. Not yet.